Hi, welcome or welcome back to Your Sweetest Life with Stephanie J. I'm Stephanie J. This is a podcast slash video recording of a podcast. So either way you're listening, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, or if you're watching on YouTube, welcome and welcome back. This platform, this space is about creating a life you love. And it's focused on health and wellness, spiritually, mentally, and physically. So I know I have a lot of different videos on here. I have videos from my travels, videos from day to day, um, encouraging videos. There's so many angles. And so the reason I built the format this way is, sorry, I got my AirPod in. The reason I built this format this way was because I wanted to share some of the things that are part of my sweetest life. So many of you probably know, you may not know, I celebrated my 58th birthday a week ago. Yeah, just over a week ago. And I feel really good. Of course, that some achy knees, but that comes with everybody. And that's probably come from years of doing athletics and putting stress on my knees. But one of the things I wanted to really talk about and start really focusing on when we talk about health and wellness on the channel is focus on dispelling some of the myths that society. One of the biggest challenges that I personally had when I was turning 58, it was getting older because society, at least in America, I live in the United States, but in many countries this isn't true. But in the United States, everyone's so focused on youth and being young that as you get older, you start to feel like you're no longer valid. And I'm one of those people that felt that way. I felt like as I age, like, what does that really mean for my validity as a person on earth? And one of the things that I started to tell myself was like, I feel good. I'm enjoying life. So I actually did a pros and con list. And I would recommend doing this because it was one of the things that really opened my eyes to the pros of growing older. And I found out by looking at that is there's so many things that I didn't think about that were so many more benefits of growing older in society. And so it was kind of funny. It was kind of ridiculous, but it was kind of funny. But it also opened my eyes to start to think about many of the societal norms, especially in the United States, that we fall captive to in our minds and even in our environments that are not true. And one of the things that really focused on me has been a challenge for me, especially since I've gone through menopause, but as a person who did bodybuilding at one point, where you have this perfect physique, to maintaining a healthy weight focused on health, I've wavered between that and what society accepts as looking healthy. And one myth, number one, I want to dispel is that health is not a size. It's not a certain size. It's not a certain weight. It's different for everybody. I teach nutrition and health coaching. I teach nutrition and health classes. And one of the things that I tell people is you have to figure out what works for your body. There's no set diet, there's no set way of eating. You have to figure out the things that work for your body at the same time being aware of nutritional value of food. So when we think about health and we think about size, we talk a lot about weight. And I kind of went down a little rabbit hole of skinny talk and YouTube skinny videos, weight loss videos, and there's just way too many of them. I'll say that. There's a lot of them. But I found myself watching these videos and feeling like, okay, I've been doing all these things. And I'm not a size 2 or size 4, but I'm really healthy and strong and I feel great and I can do things probably that a 30-year-old can't do, but I feel really good. And I go to the doctor, my numbers are great. That should make me happy, right? But because of what societal norms are about having a flat stomach or being a certain size, we start to look at ourselves and kind of put ourselves down when we don't look like this perfect image of what society says. So I hope I encourage someone today that if you don't have a perfect 2, 4, 6 size and you feel good, you're doing all the right things for your health, you're doing all the right things for your nutrition, you're doing all the right things for your mental space and your spiritual space, you're doing amazing, and give yourself credit for that. We often, I know you see like with so much, especially right now as we're going into summer, and that's the reason I kind of wanted to put this video out. We're going to start focusing more on dispelling some of those myths from society. One is about weight, others about age, and there's so many others. And as I started going down the rabbit hole of all these societal ideas about health and wellness and nutrition and body weight, it just became overwhelming. So I decided that, you know what, we're going to focus on that. That's what we're going to focus on, along with sharing some of my own personal journeys, some of the adventures I go out on, whether it's travel, whether it's local, sharing those things with you, which some people really love those videos. And also sharing these type of videos where we talk about health and wellness, where you'll see things about nutrition and healthy foods. Some things I have coming up in May are going to be about healthy um, attitudes, healthy tips for living a healthy lifestyle. I want us to focus on our health. There's so many ways that you can lose weight. There's so many things that don't work for everybody. There are so many factors that play into that. And so as society has focused on at some one point in time, weight was the determinant of health. Well, we know now that that's not true. We know that there's so much more to a healthy spirit, a healthy mind, and healthy body. Someone can have a healthy body and have a jacked up spirit. Someone can have a healthy looking body and have mental health concerns, issues, anxiety, those things. And we want to be able to manage our lives in a way where we just feel good in all those areas. And so that's what I want to share, because that's what I'm personally focused on, is really sharing that message of health, not just getting skinny, not just losing weight. I will share healthy tips here for managing a healthy weight that's for your specific body, or just a healthy weight, some tips. But I don't want to focus on weight loss so much that it becomes the focus of everything that we do, just because of what society says you should look like. I spent too many years doing it. I went into my late 50s almost like putting myself down because I was so frustrated because I wasn't seeing the weight. Of course, I've gone to menopause and I've had 4 children and I live a very active lifestyle. So I just wanted to make someone else feel better about that today. If you follow videos, if you find a way that you feel great, strong, healthy, but you're not fitting a societal norm, you are doing perfect. And give yourself credit. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about is just keeping well-being. You can have all the things going right in your life, but if your mindset or your mind isn't at peace, then you really can't really appreciate and function. As well as people who have tons of money who commit I think you're not allowed to say that on here, YouTube, who's end their lives because it's the money isn't the thing. It's about the well-being of your heart and your mind. So we're going to really focus on that. Really, really focus on you being healthier in what you put into your body. I'm going to share my personal experience with health and wellness, as well as share the stories of other women who are experiencing their own health journey. And we're going to talk more about sleep. I mean, I know growing up, people used to always, brag about how little sleep they got. Adults. I don't know why adults do this. They think it's like, I didn't sleep at all. And I was just having a conversation with several people that I work with, and nobody in the room was getting like 7, 8 hours of sleep. I'm thinking, I finally have learned to get sleep, and we don't know the importance of sleep. So we're going to talk about sleep. We're going to have a whole podcast about sleep, how to get to sleep, ways or tips that can help, and the importance of it, because sleep is one of the things that is a point when your body heals. We're going to dispel that myth that going, doing, and not getting good quality sleep is how adults should function. We're going to dispel that completely. I'm really excited about that. That's going to be coming up sometime. I'm not really sure. I got to put my schedule together. One thing I need to do is get myself in a really organized pattern so I can bring you content that's really helpful. Turning 58 was a little tough for me at first because I was focused on the ageism of society. But now that I did my pros and cons list, I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling excited. I'm beyond excited about what aging looks like. And even though I know that there's probably maybe more years behind me than in front of me, who knows? I might live to 100 16. If I do, that's fantastic. I just want to be able to do all the things I'm doing now or be able to be active. One of the things I always think about is that I don't have any grandkids yet. My husband and I don't have any grandkids yet. So I really want to be able to enjoy my grandkids, my grandkids. I want to run and jump and play with them. I want to travel and see them. I want to do vacations with them. I want my family. I want to be around when all of my grandkids or as my kids get older and they have partners. I want to be able to participate in that. And I want to be able to participate in life. So what I'm doing now is so that I can participate in my life as long as possible. And that's what health is. It's being able to live your life in the best condition, not only physically, but mentally, and spiritually that you can to have a long life, but not only a long life, a long functional life, a functional life. So I'm really excited to share some of those tips. I've already shared some of those about, nutrition and health and mindset, but I want to take you along on this journey as I go through my transitions. Many of you who view this are still young. And I would say if you are in your 20s, 30s, 40s, step on it now. There's nothing like being ahead of the game. So if you're waiting for a spiritual revelation and you're waiting for that to happen, get on it. If you're waiting to be physically fit, so you're like, oh, I'm young, I can eat whatever I want until, do it now. Because no day is promised for anyone. And as a healthcare professional, I see so many young people that are being treated for chronic illnesses that used to be only illnesses that adults saw. And that's really hard to imagine that in the United States, there's so many kids that are kids who didn't get those illnesses are now seeing those illnesses as chronic illnesses in their life. So there's not a time frame for it. You can start today. And one thing I do want to say about diet, weight loss, things like that, is that I was one of those people, and I believed this idea that people were overweight sometimes because they wanted to be. And I apologize right now that I ever believed that, I ever thought that. After teaching nutrition multiple times and seeing how there are people who really work hard, but there's chemical imbalances, there's hormonal imbalances, there's environmental imbalances, and sometimes just a knowledge imbalance about different foods that we thought were healthy that aren't so healthy, and becoming more wise about it. I know that sometimes it's not about someone's discipline or someone being, not really caring. I think that's not true. And there was a time, old me, believe that. But that's not true. That there are people who really want to be healthy, really want to be strong, really want to be active. And I would say, number one, check with your healthcare professional. If you have done some of the things like, you know, kind of a calorie deficit, you're eating high protein, you're eating fiber, you're eating lots of fruits and vegetables, and your health isn't improving, definitely see your healthcare professional and find out if there's something chemical or hormonal or something chronic that's building so that they can treat effectively so that you can be able to move forward. Just because you're taking medicine doesn't mean you're not healthy. But the key is when you're younger to start to try to develop habits that are consistent with a healthy lifestyle. That's one of the keys, is to develop habits that are consistent with a healthy lifestyle. And the earlier you can start them, the more successful you can see your health being. Now, there's still maybe chronic illnesses that come out that are genetically there, and no matter what you do, they still come out, but you know that you're doing everything that you can possibly do. I spent a lot of years believing that. I also spent a lot of years believing about fitness. Like, I was in that cardio age. I was a woman of the 90s and I was doing Jane Fonda. I guess that was probably more the 80s. Was that the 90s? Jane Fonda. And I was doing kickboxing. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, that was my guy. What was his name? Billy Blanks. I did all the Billy Blanks. I had all the Billy Blanks CDs, and that worked for me at that time. Dispelling the myth that just because it worked when you were 25 and 30, it may not work when you're 45 and 50. That's one thing that I've learned as I've aged, and is that sometimes you have to change what you're doing. I've always lifted weights, so I've had that advantage, but I'm learning now different things to do in my body. I'm about to go take a walk. I never was a walker until last year. I started walking, and I found out that not only brought me peace, but it also was really, really good for my health. So find what works for you. I'll be sharing tips that work for me and also tips as a healthcare professional and a health and nutrition coach that are helpful tips for you to maintain a healthy lifestyle, spirit, mind, and body. So that's your sweetest life. I look forward to sharing this journey with you on our healthy lifestyle journeys and sharing some of my life journeys. You're going to meet some of my family along the way. If you've watched some of my videos from Bangkok, you've already seen two of my sons and my daughter-in-law, and we have a great time together. So I'm really looking forward to sharing more of my family. My youngest daughter is going to be is actually edited my last video. She's been doing editing for me. So I'm really excited that my kids are adults now and I can spend time with them as adults. And so that's one of the benefits of growing older. I'll tell you that much. That's one benefit. But I'll be sharing so much more. Anyway, you guys, go have an amazing day. Have an amazing night. Have an amazing evening, morning, evening, whenever you're listening. And, as always, keep reaching for your sweetest life. We're all on that journey, and I'm on that journey along with you. So I'll catch you on the next video. You guys have a great evening, night, day, morning. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the big show. I'm gonna try to do my thing.